I thank you very much, Bridget and Achia, for taking the time to make this possible. And I would say I invite Bridget to say a couple of words about herself, what she's doing, and what is the difference between whatever else exists on the market and what she is doing. Thank you, Bridget, for being with us.
Thank you very much indeed. So I founded my company and community called The Bigger Pie in September 2019. I came across blockchain and I went down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin, and I was fascinated as to what was going on with our current financial systems, where there were issues with them, and why having an alternative was such a good idea, and how this technology was transformational. I had previously been an IFA, an independent financial advisor, which I always like to say was BC, before child. But when my son came along in 2004, it was another example of my gender stopping my career progress. So I had intended to go back part-time initially when he was first born. But whilst I was out on that maternity leave, the board of directors said, we only want to have people who can write business at a really high amount, it's $250,000 a year, and anything but below that, we're going to take 70% of their income. So that just meant that I couldn't go back into that space. So it was a time when I recognized that had I been at the table to represent, hang on a minute, you haven't thought about me, I'm sure they would have accommodated me, but I wasn't at the table to be able to represent myself. So there's been times throughout my career where my gender has put me at a disadvantage for my career progression, despite my skill set. So that has been the journey of sort of my life as a woman, coming into this exciting opportunities with blockchain. I was then invited to come into a startup in 2017, which I did. And this really opened up my mind and an awareness to the potential that this technology had beyond Bitcoin, beyond just the financial systems. And for me, we've seen the internet supposed to democratize us. We've seen social media supposed to democratize us. And instead, we've got 12 men who own more than half of the world's wealth. So blockchain technology has the potential to change the way that we exchange value, to include people who have previously been excluded, to have transparency in what we do, to be able to sort of democratize how wealth is shared, but only if we build products and services and solutions that use that technology to do that. Otherwise, we'll be building by a few for a few. And so what's the solution to being able to do that? Well, the answer is bring women in. The other thing is we're seeing already, and I recognize in 2017, there is a generational transference of wealth happening in Web 3.0. And I was like, not on my watch, I will be missing out again just because of their gender. So then I had a look at the women who are in the space, and they are unbelievable. I'm not suggesting the men are, I'm just saying I haven't studied and researched the men, but the women speak multiple languages, have multiple degrees, have career histories that you wouldn't believe, and have a vision of the future that they're willing to go out there and lead and build with. So I wanted to know how I could hang out with these women, and also how we could support them in what they're doing, make them visible, because you can't be what you can't see, make sure that their networks are more open to them, especially connecting with other women, and then raising their visibility, attract other incredible smart women into the space. So effectively, that's what we're looking to do within the Bigger Pie. In terms of why the Bigger Pie might be different, there are a number of other women in tech groups, and I did think about where I could add the most value. What was the point of starting the Bigger Pie when there are other groups out there? And there are two reasons. There's one, I did have my idea and my vision of what I wanted to put into practice, which I felt that you can't go into somebody's hard-earned community and then start dictating to you. You need to be invited in, or there needs to be some sort of trust, understanding, recruitment purposes, whatever it might be, for that to happen. But there is so much work to be done. One, then let's just all collaborate together. The other one is, tech's been around for a while, women have been excluded for a while, but Web 3.0 is nascent technology. So if we can get these companies that are forming now, and loads of companies haven't even, that are going to be in the space and be major players in the space, don't even exist yet. So if we can help them build with a diverse and particularly gender lens attached in it, then we're not having to change cultures. So that was what I was looking at doing. So I wanted to be able to have the ability to steer a group, steer a community in a way that I felt would be powerful, would be useful, would be helpful, without having to ask the permission of somebody else, or trying to go in and usurp the hard work that they'd already done. So that's what we've been doing with the Bigger Pie. I am delighted to say that both of you fantastic women are a part of my community, as indeed, we share and support each other. And so I'm really proud and excited by that. So that's where we are. And we have amazing leaders and learners who share invaluable knowledge, opportunities, connections, where to get investment, where to get grants, what education you might need, where to get hired, what salary you need to negotiate, just support, so that you have that psychological safety net, that you can come in and look for, I don't know if reassurance is the right word, but just, do I have enough confidence in my competence to step forward into this new role? And that's a huge thing that I feel that we provide. So hopefully that sort of answered the introductory question and potentially why we're unique and different. But I absolutely adore the other work that women in the space are doing, especially Achia's work.
Thank you very much, Bridget. I know the Bigger Pie, and I know your efforts and your success. And now we go to another part of the world. And that's the reason why basically I invited you to, first of all, because you are two fantastic women, of course, but also because you represent projects empowering women in two completely different realities. And I definitely want to hear now Achia telling us her story, how she achieved or what she achieved, and the reason behind. Well, the reason behind probably are quite obvious, but the challenges that you find in that part of the world, and in what is different, what you do from what Bridget does.
Thank you, Laura, for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to share my story here. So the interesting thing is actually I'm born in a country, like you can say, without any opportunity. Like we need to create our self opportunity. And Bridget is lucky than me because she is born in a country. She have lots of opportunity over there. So this is the main two difference I have seen. Like when people think about us, they think we are from third world countries. So we don't know this, we don't know that. So they think like this way. So we always need to prove ourselves. Actually, we are capable. So this is the one things. And another thing is I am working in the technology. So people think women are not capable to do the technical things. So and the country like us, we can't imagine actually working in tech world. So when I started my education, I was in only girls who is the engineering classes. So I done my computer engineering degree from one university, and I am only girls. And when I started my job, in that time I see the same things. Like I'm only one girl who is working in the programming team. So people, when I am giving my interview, they are suggest me, you can work in the design team, testing team, you can working in the management roles. Why you are trying to come in the programming industry? Because it's not good fit for you and you will not able to stay here. But I am taking that as a challenge. So I want to try prove myself always in my office and whenever I was working. So I have working like 9 years for different companies. I started as a junior software engineer, and when I quit my job, in that time I promoted as a CTO. So, but in this period, I always try to hire some girls in my team, but I'm unable to hire the girls because there are few women come in the engineering college, and somehow they just after a few days they just hide themselves, or after graduation they just hide themselves. They are not coming in the technical industry, and those who are want to come in this industry, they become maybe a teacher or maybe a business woman, like the different things, not the technical business. So they make themselves different things. Actually, they are not working in the tech world. So I was thinking I should make it smooth because I need to find out why they are not coming. So when I analyze my journey, it was not very much easy. Like, I always need to prove myself. I fight for my promotion. Why I am not getting the promotion? Why I am not getting enough salary? So I need to always raise my voice. So I was thinking I will create a community where one woman help another woman help another woman. And for my official purpose, I visit different countries. Like I visited Europe, I visit USA, I visit the Asia Pacific regions countries. So in that time I face the everywhere is the same things. Actually, this is not about the developing countries girls, it's all about the country, all above the girls. Actually, people thinking women are not able to doing the coding, they are not able to do the technical things. So it's become actually more bigger deal for me now. So I start fighting actually against the society. So I initially I start teaching 3 girls and start working with them. And after that, till now we provided more than 14,000 women and girls technical training, and they are working, and more than 8,000 women and girls, they are working in the different technical companies. So this is a big achievement for me, I believe. And I get lots of award for this, actually, from the national award, and also mostly actually I get award from the international people, because maybe they are giving that much value than our people. Like, they are not still understand what I am trying to do. They always asking, it's not possible, she will fail. So they're just pushing me like this way. But I think I believe I will not fail, because when I start in that time, I am giving them very poor technical knowledge, like very easy programming language. It's like something web development, like small HTML or PHP, like this is the very easiest one when I give them the training. But now I give them the training on AI, I give them the training on blockchain, I give them the training on IoT. So, and the girls are developing the wonderful product, IT product. So this is the difference I have made in this society, for the society, actually. So now people trust on me, and girls also, when they want to do anything in their life, they at least give a call me. I want to do this thing, so could you please mentoring me? So and also the actually I believe my success is that, like, when I am not in the office, but I have a women team, they are able to run the organizations. Like, they can teach other girls, so they can empower other women. So I think that is my main achievement in technical world. The thing is, actually, when I start my journey, in that time I was, most of the day I feel maybe from tomorrow I will not able to come in the office, because there's a pressure always behind me, because people are always judging us with so many negative things. She is not capable, she is getting her promotion like that way, she is not doing the right thing. We always heard that thing. So, but still I am working, and women in digital already live and working. Our girls are working in different places. So that is a very big achievement for me.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Achia. Very clear Well, you both ladies mentioned a few things that are very similar from one word to the other, which is prejudice and limited exposure to opportunities, possibly some kind of problem in terms of policies, especially in Achia's world. And then what else? And then certainly education. How would you position in the two different worlds these four elements, or any other that you estimate is a key element that needs to be addressed in order for women to be effectively empowered? So I mentioned education policies, self-worthiness, and what we said, limited exposure and prejudice. What do you put first, and what do you think is not an issue?
Achia, do you want to go first now?
Okay, so for me, actually, education is the first, because we are not getting enough technical education from our childhood. So that's a problem here. So I want to give that number one. And then the second is the exposure, actually. Those who want to come and bring something different for the society, but behind them there is lots of things, actually. So they are not able to showcasing themselves right away, but because of there's so many things. So I will bring this number two. And sorry, Laura, what is the other two?
The other elements are self-worthiness, policies or governmental support, basically, and prejudice.
And the second is the policies. The third is the policies, because what I believe, actually, in our country and Asian countries, you have seen there's very few women come in the policies making side. So hardly you can get one or two women, those who are developing the policy. So mostly our policy developed by men. So the thing is, actually, a man, how can he understand my problem? Because he is a man, he don't have that that things, actually, he can feel me. Man always feel manly way. So we need more women in the policies. So yeah, and the lastly,
okay, thank you very much. Bridget, what is your point of view? How are different women in your part of the world?
I don't think that there's a difference between what women are facing. I think there's probably just a varying degree of policies, hostilities, biases, and prejudices that can be more prevalent and more acceptable in different environments. But it doesn't mean to say that none of these things, the women anywhere, I don't know one world where women aren't facing all of these issues. So I don't think it's possible to rank them, because I think one without the other is not effective. We have to have multiple points of attack, as it were, at the same time to be able to lift what's happening. So government policies and company policies are huge. I remember speaking with a company called CMS, which is a global legal firm, and they were saying once they implemented 6 months parental leave, not maternity leave, but parental leave, and they started to see the men choose to take that parental leave, the shift in how they behaved when they were at work towards women who also had childcare was suddenly different. It wasn't, oh my goodness me, you have to rush off because, you know, are you not committed to work? It's like, yeah, no problems at all. I've got to do the same. So how can we work around it? And apparently the culture and the shift there changed dramatically. So that was an interesting anecdote for me to hear, because we know that within the Scandinavian countries, they have very strong policies when it comes to, initially they said parental leave, then none of the dads would take any time off. Why not? Well, they generally felt that if they did, they'd lose out at work, at their promotion, at the pay, what's going on, you know. So this is a real thing. But once they were enforced to do it, then that suddenly changes. But that's not going to happen, I don't think, unless we have policy change that goes in there. So that's vital to happen. Then we have what is known as unconscious bias. So it doesn't matter where you're brought up in the world, there are stories about girls, there are stories about boys, and there are stories about women that affect us in ways that we really just don't appreciate how strong they are. So being made aware of those biases does not change them. So it was disappointing to read that unconscious bias training can actually have a negative effect. It can make the choices in the company worse, not better. So what we need to be able to look at is where in your company's policies and procedures are these biases showing up, and what design principles can we put in play to be able to help to reduce them, to circumvent them, to check when are they happening and are they disadvantaging people negatively. So, for example, research has shown that currently, if a man and a woman have the same credentials, they're as well suited for the job as each other, a man is 400% more likely to get that job. The research shows that if a woman negotiates for, and so this is why I'm so proud of you, Achia, because not only have you negotiated for your raise, negotiated for your position and your promotions and your salary, but you've got them. So this is fantastic, is that usually when women do that, they're seen as difficult and not likable. And who wants to work with someone they don't like? But when a man does it, he's rewarded for it. And when it comes to how men are judged, they're judged on their promise and on their future, and women are judged on their past. And even when their past is exceptional, they're still not believed. So it lends women to be, and this is why women, when they look for a role, go, oh, I don't have all of those qualifications, why should I bother? And a man will go, well, I've got some of them, I'll put myself forward. Because historically and throughout their lives, women have had that experience where actually we don't think you're good enough and here's all the reasons. And so it's not, oh, the difference between a girl brain and a boy brain. It's the difference that girls and women walk through the world with and how it responds to them as men do. But there are a number of organizations out there right now who are aware of this and who want to learn how to make a difference. So we can put together design practices, we can put together workshops that don't just make you aware of the biases, but actually help you to put fixes in on that. So I think those would be the things that I'm most conscious of at the moment, because there is a lot being done in education. But I will back Achia up with the fact that you can't be what you can't see, and role models.
I absolutely agree. It's a mixture of all these elements together that creates the culture that is necessary in order for change.
Oh,
sorry.
Yes.
I very frequently say that technology adoption technology is not a problem. The problem is adoption, which is a matter of culture. And if we think of the problem of women is exactly the same, the point is not that they are not there. The point is that there is not the culture at the moment that makes them thinking that they have exactly the same right, or having an attitude that opens doors, basically. A lot depends on self-awareness, I would say.
Yes. Yes, I'm just laughing because I had a conversation over the weekend where a man just turned around and said, let me just assure you, men do not have self-awareness. So I was just looking at that. But I mean, Heather, it was very kindly shared that, she had, and this is a really important thing as well, male allies who will support women, who will stand up for them, who will be in the room and represent them, who will suggest that they're there for promotion, who will have their back. Because this is a problem that has been created by a patriarchal system, yet women seem to be left to fix it. We need everyone fixing it.
Okay, let's go back to your projects, your businesses. So we wanted to give some kind of suggestion of what are the skills needed for others to build other projects, possibly empowering women, as you are doing. So I understand that you're not necessarily comfortable, or Achia is a little bit more comfortable in defining a kind of hierarchy of what is needed to work on. However, there is also another aspect is what are the skills that are needed to those who want to build a project. What do you think they are? What do you need? Why are you having a success, basically? What makes you a successful woman?
Okay, you trained 14,000.
Don't worry. You are too.
No, it's fine. But you've trained 14,000 women. So why don't we hear about what you think the success metrics are? And also, I'd like to hear some of those challenges, because I know that you've been doing this a lot longer than you and I have been connected. But you've shared with me some of the challenges that you've had, both from a cultural point of view, but also COVID had a big impact. Yet you've still managed to train 4,000 women, since COVID came around, even though it had such an impact. So the resilience you have is amazing. We'd love you to.
Resilience is the first one, but I do agree. I can say, Achia, what's your point of view? What do you see as your major positive?
So the thing is, actually I have observing the thing is that is willingness. Like, I want to complete this project. So if anybody don't have that things, then we can teach her. Actually, first initiative taken by me, then I will into the project. Otherwise, I can think about the project, I will not complete the project. So the thing is, the first self initiative for him or herself, self motivation. Yes, I want to come in the technical world, I want to take the challenge, and I want to work, and I want to stay here. So for me, actually, this four is very important. And then when we design a project, actually, we are looking to so many things. Like in Women in Digital, we are divided. One is urban community, one is rural community, one is international community, one is local community. So we need to divide it this way. So for the rural area, so we understand they are very less educated. So we need to design the project for them, like they can complete that project. So it's a limited technical things, like not of the code programming things, or something very hardcore things. So for those who are urban area and come from the privileged families, so we give them a different project, like they can develop it, they can learn it, they can expand it, they have their own device. So also they can bring it in the next level. So we are designing all the project like this. Actually, the main goal is we want to achieve something. So, and we check the pulse of environment. Actually, what environment asks from us. So we want to work on that. Like, I am dreaming I will develop a big blockchain project from Bangladesh, but the environment, the circumstances not support me for that one. So how I can start that project? So that is our main limitation. So like we are taking the initiative, but sometimes we are not able to do that because of the for a project we don't need only the brain, only the manpower, but we need also the money, we need also the environment, we need also the need. So we need to analyze so many things. And another things, actually, the thing is, in Bangladesh we have low manpower cost. So when we design anything, so we always keep it that our mind, we will develop it in a low cost, but we will sell it in the international market, then the project will be success. So that is the way actually we are deciding how we project, what type of project actually we will do. But now we want to very much focus on the high-tech things. Like initial stage, we always working in the small things I have said already. But nowadays we are designing the blockchain, IoT, like this type of big project to our women.
And tell me, in any company, we need some kind of a criteria for evaluating where we are in our journey. Did you apply any kind of metrics to understand what is your level of success, or where are you in the journey, basically? What is the suggestion that you would give to somebody setting up a company that aims to measure or to facilitate women empowerment? How would they measure their success or their progress? Do you have any, I mean, Achia, you have numbers until tomorrow, I think. So I suspect this is not a difficult question for you. But let's move. What do you think, without asking you exactly your figures? What I wanted to understand is, how can somebody who is putting together a project understand their progress? What is your point of view? What is your suggestion?
So if I'm all right to step in here. So I think there are two ways that you want to look at it, because in terms of how can you be successful in supporting women, I think the first thing you need to do is take any ego away from it. If you are not a woman in the space, then fantastic, go ahead, but please make sure that one needs to listen. All right, so I'm a straight white woman, as Akila's already pointed out. I already have more privilege than a lot of other people. So for me, the bigger pie is to give a voice and a stage for others to speak from their experiences. So I'm comfortable speaking from the gendered lens, but that's it. When it comes to anything else, that is not my place to be able to speak for people or for women, but to be able to give them platforms for them to be able to speak. So I think that's an important thing, is that if we're supporting women to step into their greatness, then giving them their voice on the way is a really important thing to do. Not thinking that you have all the answers and sitting back and letting the magic happen has been a key part of the Bigger Pies culture and success. I think what Achia said there was understanding where someone is coming from and matching them where they're at. So the different programs that you've got for the rural versus international versus those who are in the city, because you understand that their starting point is from different places, I think is absolutely key. So being tailored to that. And in terms of your metrics, I would, and this is a huge thing, and I know that Heather has been very vocal about sharing her experiences, is it's not about having technical skills. It's not about all those metrics. It's also about the agency that women are stripped of as they go throughout the world. And how do we measure giving them their agency back? So that's less difficult to quantify. It's more qualitative, I think, rather than quantitative, but I'm sure there are ways that it can be measured. But yes, I mean, when a woman does speak up on social media, the level of depravity of the comments that she receives. So Invisible Women, I can't remember the name of the author, I'm desperately so sorry, but the author of Invisible Women, all she did was write about why women need to be included at the design, development, and deployment of things, and how all of these areas of innovation, invention, various things weren't, some of them failed, some of them, because women weren't included. No man bashing, nothing like that, just why it's important to include everyone, particularly through a gendered lens. She had so many threats that they doxed her. They had people threatening to kill her family. to the point where, you know, it's negatively impact her life, and hopefully, I mean, I don't know if she's past it, but at the time that I was listening to a podcast about it, you know, and all she's trying to do is give voice to women. So yeah, if you can give agency and a safe space for women to talk, and when you see this social media abuse and this other abuse coming in, say something. You know, when it comes in the DMs, it's a bit difficult for you to see, but if you're a person who knows a woman who's speaking up, check on her, see what's going on, because everyone else is trying to strip them of their agency, and I think that's just not touched on.
So empathy is not measurable, but is the key element.
I don't know how to measure it.
Of course. I understand. Achia, what is your point? Because Achia, I suppose that you somehow got to get your project funded, and I'm wondering how did investors look at the project without asking any metrics? Is that possible? Can a woman expect to get funded without metrics?
No. So the thing, when we are giving any business pitch or trying for funding, they want to see the traction actually. So what we have done and how we have done, and if he or she invests me, then I am able to return that thing. They are judging us as a man business, like a man run. The way a man run a business, people are judging us as the same way. Like they never think they are women, so we need to give them some support, or we can give them extra facilities. People are not thinking like this way. So the thing is, whenever we design any project, if it can be a software for any international companies or local companies. So they think when they come to us, they decide. They ask the first question, actually, is it possible by your team, because they're all are women. So we face first questions. Then I need to showcase my projects. The girls done these projects. So yes, we are capable. And then they are trying to give us a bit little money because we are women. So the first thing is actually they are judging us as a women. Secondly, they are not interested to give us much money because we are women. And third thing, they are expecting a standard software within very low cost. So that is the problem we are facing when we are designing a software or mobile application or web applications. And for a project like the training project, when we are bidding for the grant or donation, in that time we need to prove ourselves actually we are capable and we have do these things. And then when they see yes, we have done a wonderful work, then they are giving us the funds. So the thing is actually women always need to prove themselves. But the good news is actually till 2018, I need to write up so many different projects for different companies, be different donor agencies. But after that, like from 2019 to till now, people are come to us. So that is a very good sign for us actually. People are not judging us much now. They want to work with us. So this is a good side I can share with you.
That is called a success.
Amazing.
Yeah, maybe.
Bridget, I know that you have explored and worked around the funding issue of women. What do you think? What is your suggestion? What is the problem, first of all? Does it exist the typical investor for women? Or what's your point? What do you think?
So I think fundamentally the same problem that exists with the hiring, with the promotions, and with the investing, is that we like to invest in, promote, and hire people who look like us. So we're starting off with a very limited amount of what people look like who are making the hiring decisions, the investment decisions. And we need to change that diversity. So at the moment, it used to be women got less than 3%. Now it's less than 2.5%. We're going backwards on this, not forwards. But what I am seeing that is positive news is there are more female VCs. So men get only male teams get 90% of all VC funding globally. Mixed teams get, so it's 89%, mixed teams get around 8 to 11%, and then the women get the drips that are left. So there are a number of investors that I have come across who want to do better, because the point of an investment portfolio, right, is to spot the best companies that are going to make the biggest profit. And research by Boston Consulting Group shows that actually women receive less funding when they, on terms of frequency. When they do receive the funding, they receive less funding than male counterparts, but they provide more profits. So it makes no statistical sense at all not to be investing in women, but this unconscious bias thing is huge. So we're seeing, as I say, more female investors coming through. And then we're seeing, I was at an event pre-COVID, it was a Femtech event, and the investors said, we understand the research where women are asked questions that are what they called in the research preventative questions, basically justify yourself questions, whereas men are asked promotive questions, basically, how will you manage with all the success that you're going to have, right? But if you ask men preventive questions and women promotive questions, you know, the men will have less chance of the funding. So there is an education piece there, and again, putting in design practices for the investors, particularly the male white investors who seem to be giving most of the money to male white founders, to say you're just losing out on cold hard cash. So here's a few design principles that you could put into play. And then making sure that they have the right outreach, communication pipeline for really good pre-vetted female-led startups that trust that they can go to this investor. Because those investors that are diverse, that are very open, that have their language, you can tell online that they really care about the fact that they're looking for founders with diversity. The process that they go through, you know, that is really felt by the founders, and they're not going to put themselves in front of some investors that are just whitewashing it, because they can tell the difference. They'll be wasting their time. They'll probably have a negative experience, and they're not going to put themselves in front of them. So then this makes the investors think there's no female founders, but it's not. It's because you're not doing the right things to attract them. And then the other thing is that I have learned recently, like in the last 12 months, women need to invest. Women need to invest more. The men are getting richer and richer because they're investing in early stage companies. They're getting the huge profits from them, which means they control the purse strings. In the crypto world, especially, these decisions happened really quickly. And we need to have programs that allow women to start investing in, take a smaller steps so that they can then become investors, be comfortable with investing. But think of role models of female investors, right? The big female names are all philanthropists. They give their money away, they don't invest their money, and we need to shift that paradigm.
Let me understand that, Achia, in particular, you must have struggled in creating the ecosystem around your project. It's very much when you build whatever, you need you need an ecosystem, basically, a number of entities and a number of interested parties. They do their bit in order for you to put together the project. So I'm under the impression it must be hugely difficult in a country that has huge connection problems or even networking difficulties, and then, of course, a huge prejudice against women, and possibly a lack of education as a base. how could you make it happen?
So the thing is actually when I started with my own money, because I understand if I ask anyone, nobody will support me. So I started doing everything on my own money. So the thing is actually I was come from a privileged family, and then I have good education. I have worked for the different companies, so I have a much money in that time. So I start my business with my own money, and I used to give in the device free to the girls, and gave their salary, give them the different collect project from different clients for them. So I have done everything in my own way. So I didn't get any support from anybody. And the thing is, when I'm teaching in front of different competitions and other investor or donor, the people dominate me and they never give me anything till 16. So they never trust on my project, they never trust on me actually, and the work I'm doing. So in my country, access is the main problem, like access to education, access to device, access to internet, access to money. Everything is a problem actually. So we need to make our own opportunity for us. So the thing is, now I can say actually I have developed an ecosystem in Bangladesh where now women can think I will come in the technical world and I will able to do something for the nation. So we need to develop actually ourselves in each and every aspect. So in that time actually sometimes I feel actually I should give up, because I don't have so many things. I have also some limitations. So, and the thing is, I am not able to share these things with others, because where I will share, who will understand my problem? So sometimes some of the clients, some of the international friends, I just share with them. So I'm facing this problem, and sometimes they want to try to help me. But that is one time, but I'm doing my business continuously. So I was more focused on how can I sustain. So I need to do the more, actually something like I need to develop some project which make me some, which give me some money, like the softwares, the mobile applications, the games, the different services for the clients. So I am focusing on that things. So that is the way actually we survive. And yes, but good thing is nowadays we can pitch in front of the investor. They can, at least they can hear us very carefully, and they understand we can, if they support us, we can do something. So this is the way we actually are working. And recently we have done some project with UNDP also. So at least people have some trust on us nowadays, but in previous it was super difficult.
Sorry to interrupt you. The ecosystem for you is investors on one side, clients on the other side, women to be supported for education on the third side. Nothing else? Is there any other key element that is needed for, on your point of view?
So actually, what we actually need now, girls already come in this industry, so we need to keep them. So those who want to stay for the long time and interested about the business, we need for them some investor.
You need
they can invest
so those who have learned to teach others and build a kind of.
We already done that things, like I in my talk I have said previously, like we teach one girls, and that girls teach other girls, and other girls teach other girls. And when they are developing something, if anybody face any problem, we have a tech community and they just share, I am in that problem, so other girls help them. So this is the way we are now working. Okay, but so now we want to go to the next level.
Sorry, Achia, just to get back, what are the elements of your ecosystem? Investors, women, companies, what else?
government, and donor agencies.
Okay, very good. Bridget, what's your ecosystem like? What made it possible to grow the community? What are the elements that are key factors?
We've been very fortunate in the Bigger Pie that we literally started out with 2 or 3 people in there, made sure that we were giving support, and everyone else has invited everyone else in. The community itself is the biggest strength of the Bigger Pie. So we have a peer-to-peer supportive and valuable knowledge exchange that's going on. And this is one thing, if someone's listening and think, how do I build, something where, because you can't do all the heavy lifting yourself, it's impossible, especially if you want to reach a large number of people in this, is the way that people are treated when they first come into something is the way that they'll treat others when they come in. So if they're ignored when they first come in, they're going to ignore others when they first come in. If, however, when they first come in, they are welcomed, they are asked how they can be helped, they're given some resources, as soon as someone else comes in, that will repeat itself. So the ecosystem now is these women across every discipline. So we have the women who are coming in, they've made noise about the Bigger Pie to their employers, to their networks. They've been raising awareness of the Bigger Pie to other companies that I can't do, that I can't do on my own. So that's been wonderful that we built that trust and that desire for people without being asked to go off and say, look, you need to get in touch with the Bigger Pie, because the women themselves are facing the problems, right? But they can't necessarily put the solutions in place when it comes to their work environment or anywhere else. But they're having conversations with their work, and their work is saying, yes, we want to be better at this. So then all of a sudden the ecosystem becomes much more than just the women who are in the community supporting each other. Now we start to have clients saying, how do we do this? How do we find the women? Can you help us in terms of the placement of them? Can you help us in terms of our internal design practices that we're putting into play? People are reaching out saying, really enjoy what you're doing. Perhaps we can have a conversation about funding this so that we can see it scale up. So
it's the network. The network is the ecosystem in itself.
It really has been. And then from there, we're able to build from there. I'm just smiling because, of course, you know Jacqueline, you're very well networked, Achia. Yes, Jacqueline Novogratz is amazing. So she's doing work with Acumen. And one of the things that I learned from her, and one of the things that Achia is mentioning, is these things take time. So you need patient capital. So forget the idea of coming in and saying that we're going to change 100,000 people's lives in 6 weeks, right? Because that's the masculine way of coming in and doing things, and think that you can just do one and then you can scale up. The problems and the insidiousness and the biases and the things like that, and they understand where someone's coming from and how their situation is different. Being able to build on trust within that culture and to change culture it's more like growing bamboo, right? Lots happens under the surface that is giving strength to your project that takes longer than other projects, so that then you can then the bamboo suddenly shoots out to the ground and you can start to see the progress. So I think, Claire has described all of that. She didn't have support. She's had to go through this resilience. She's had to fund it herself. She's always battling, but we're 14,000 women, of which I think, what was it, 8,000 are currently in employment. It's just tremendous.
Ladies, let me understand, we just have 5 minutes. A thought about a network of networks. So what do you think? So one of the problems in technologies is the interaction and the correlation between different technologies and how they can interact. Do you see that as a potential things to happen in this female issue, or do you think that is impossible to get together the many projects that exist around and give more voice to the women empowerment idea?
This is already an example of that, isn't it?
Sorry?
This is already an example of that, isn't it?
Well, no,
You're giving voice to two different. Are you talking about the different projects collaborating?
Well, what we do effectively as TiiQu is bringing together communities, but specifically, we are more. We are not necessarily focused on females. We are focused on skills. However, if we think of the issue of giving voice to women, I see many contexts that are trying somehow to do something. You are among the best examples. However, there are also others. So I'm wondering if we put all together, wouldn't that be better for everyone? So I see a future, I see the difficulty in the space where I work, in the trust space, to make the shift from control to participation. And I'm wondering if this is also an issue in the context of these networks, that may be something towards which we should work to reach a better success for everyone.
So with the bigger pie, we're all about working in collaboration. There is so much work to be done that it's impossible for one organization to expect that they can do that. So Achia and I have had a number of talks. We're still looking at ways that, you know, when opportunities will come through, that we will be able to connect and work together. And it's disappointing that we haven't had a chance to do that yet, but it's, you know, we know each other, and that's ongoing. And Heather, I know, is very good at raising opportunities and directing them towards the various different communities, and depending on what the work is and which community fits best with that. But there's also Her DAO, and there's also Phoenix Skill, and there's Jovian Network, which are 3 other, and there's Women in Blockchain, which are 4 other women-focused groups. And the Bigger Pie interacts and collaborates with all of them. We're going to the East Denver conference, which is next month, which is a conference for people who are in, you know, this space that we're in Web3. And we are collaborating together. There are grants that are being distributed and shared out. There are stages for speaking that are being distributed and shared out. We are looking at where the resources are in the different networks and how we can best utilize those to be able to get the most visibility, the most out for the women, you know, most of the experience for the women, and also so that we can network with the guys, because, you know, we do have a very much domination of male participants and male investors and male C-suite levels. So we need to get out there, and they need to know what's going on, what we're doing, and how we're doing it, and then bringing everyone to the table to be able to benefit from that. Now, I think we're quite special where we are with Web 3.0, because the grant funding process is a little different. More established, slightly larger organizations come from a limited pot. I mean, Achia's already told you how difficult it is for her to get funding, and she's got such a good track record. And I think when there's a limited, or the idea of a limited pot to be shared around, then it's more difficult for people to have the mindset of collaboration.
Thanks.
That's my opinion.
Achia, what do you think? Well, it's difficult to find many Achias.
This is not like
that. There's only one.
This is not like that. So yeah,
we would have millions of women in tech.
Exactly.
So women would be more than men in tech.
Yes, I would love to join in that journey also. So the thing is, actually network is always important for everybody, I believe. So country like us, or the Asian women, I believe they are not getting enough opportunity to meet with other people. But nowadays actually they are arranging so many conferences, so we are participating in that programs. So it's increased. I believe one day it will more increased. Like sometimes actually we go in different countries. Like in 2020. I have visited London for attending one tech conference. So, and I talk over there. So this is the way actually we are building our network. So, and the thing is here, like here, Bridget is here, and Laura, you also here. So we can make our own network too. Like we can do some project with both of you. So this is the way we can collaborate, because there's lots of things to work together. And if we start working together, then people will follow us more, because Bridget is running her community, you also running your community, I'm running my community. So we can bring all the community in a single platform. So I think if we are working like this way, then people will not, actually we don't think about the man here. So we can make powerful us actually. So we don't need to take some help from the other man. So I am not ignoring the man, but the thing is actually if we collaborate, then I think we can make something very special and which is very impactful for the society.
Thank you very much, Achia, Bridget. Do you want to give to the audience your last thought?
Yes. Okay, so my last thought is to build on what Achia was saying. So thank you very much for inviting us on, and I knew I would enjoy this discussion. But collaboration can be as informal or as formal as you want it to be. So we're definitely able to do informal collaborations, and we're looking forward to having more formal collaborations. And the difference is just more money flowing through. I think that makes it a bit more formal. So yeah, I mean, anyone who is interested in particularly if we're talking about supporting women, then there's a whole bunch of research that you can do. There's lots of really interesting books out there. So the Caroline Crea de Perez book is The Invisible Women. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce her name very well, especially it's all one word. That's not helping me with the pronunciation. There's Jacqueline Novogratz Acumen, that's another one. There are a whole bunch of books. If you look at those two, then Amazon will start suggesting, or the Google algorithms will start suggesting the other things that you can look at. Gender by Design is another fabulous book, because it really helps you to say, okay, we understand there's some unconscious bias, what can we do? And it's an experimentation. There's no blueprint at the moment to fix it, otherwise we would see different changes in the world. But yeah, have patience. You will be surrounded by the most amazing women who will inspire you and uplift you on your journey, and it will be hugely fulfilling.
Fantastic. Achia, your last thought for everyone?
Yes, so I always tell one thing to the girls and to the audience, that is, technology does not have any gender. Then why this dividation? So if you want to come in this industry, this is very easy to come. Just take the first step, like I want to do this and I want to stay in this world, in this industry. So be a smart woman, come in the tech industry, learn and earn from here, because this is the very easiest way to earn for women. And I believe financial independence is the main thing for women empowerment. So just
women empowerment is possible, finally. Very good.
Definitely.
Bridget, yeah, thank you very much for being available, and see you again next time.
And a big shout out to say thank you to Heather as well. Thanks very much, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.